let me tell you something. I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I first bought this game. I thought it was just going to be a cool hack and slash action adventure, beat bop bout. I don't know why I'm saying that. Just a cool action adventure game. Why am I talking? And for the most part, I feel like that's what we got. But what we also got was a spiritual successor to Elden Ring with some of the bullshit moves that these bosses be doing. And for some of them, it's not even just moves. It's their entire move set. I still don't think it was as hard as Elden Ring, but my god, there were times where it felt like that was the goal for them. They felt like that was what they were aiming for, to be as difficult as Promised Consort Radahn. Some of these bosses, it was getting there. But moving on, as far as the criteria for the bosses I chose, it's just going to be a mix of some essential bosses, the ones that you have to beat to progress the main story, and a couple of other non-essential bosses sprinkled out here and there. One last thing, hey, this is just my list, okay? So if there's a boss on here that you didn't think that was that hard, or there was another boss that you think should be on here, hey, don't go crazy in the comment section, okay? But I would still love to know what you thought. You know, I'd love if you dropped your own list in the comment section below. But with that being said, these are the top 10 hardest bosses in Black Myth Wukong.
Hailed bird, what dimmed your shine? Past's grip beyond our grasp, the future we may still clasp. Late is the hour, young one, in which you choose.
Now, starting off at number 10, we have the White-clad Noble. Now, this guy was easily the first real challenge that I came across in the game. He is weird. He has some weird, like, serpentine moves where he, like, turns into a snake and goes to attack you, and it really threw me off the first few times I was fighting him. He can also throw his staff and summon it back like freaking Mjolnir. And he's also the first boss in the game that has a full second phase, like when he transitions to a second phase, full health bar again. And that second phase also allows him to attack you at some pretty absurd ranges. And let's not forget the fact that he is also healing himself during his second phase. Yeah, I don't know if y'all noticed, but if you look closely, his health bar is slowly going up, which means that you have to take this guy down fast. But with that being said, it's not going up that fast, so it's very doable to take him down pretty quickly. And at number 9 we have Captain Wise Voice, who is a weird looking horse, deer, jackal thing at the Pagoda Realm. I'm not exactly sure what he is, but he's the gatekeeper at the Pagoda Realm. And this boss is actually unique. It actually affects the entire area where you're in, and it drains your health and buffs the enemies, which I don't think I saw in any other area in the game. But yeah, this boss's big thing was that he not only had a lot of control over the space that you're in with his moveset, whether he's shooting beams in a line or just shooting them crazy and all over the place, but he can actually slow down time and kind of slow you down. This boss has a lot of control over the arena, the spacing. He has this one move where he basically makes it like the floor is lava, and there's only one singular spot that you're safe in, so you really have to have be aware of your surroundings. The arena isn't that big, so try to run away. Just get in there close with him, take him down as quick as possible. He does that one BS grab attack that I could not for the life of me ever dodge, but hey, it is what it is. And one last thing, he does actually manipulate your health bar. He halves it, and I think he has like a third of his health bar left. but if you saved up enough cores throughout the run, then you should be okay. Overall, like design-wise, this guy is awesome. Like he's shooting lasers all, lasers all over the place, and it's very visually appealing. But as far as difficulty goes, he's number 9 for a reason. So let's move on. I feel like this boss is more tricky rather than difficult. And to be honest, I can't even really get mad at a lot of the things that he does, except for maybe one thing at the end, but we'll put a pin in that, come back to that later. Yeah, starting off rip, you actually get help during this boss fight. The spider women that you see throughout the chapter, yeah, they actually help you fight them. And it's actually it's pretty entertaining. I'll sit back and watch them fight. It's also kind of gross. Like, for you, if any of you have arachnophobia, it might be a bit difficult, but hey, some help is better than no help, you know, you take what you can get sometimes, so, and that damage that's been done, it'll actually carry through to subsequent runs, so even if you die on that run, he'll still start with like a quarter of his health taken off, so you have even less to do than you usually would. But yeah, to unpin the thing that I mentioned earlier, the thing that is kind of questionable about this boss fight is this domain expansion that he pulls out. Yeah, this guy pulls out his domain expansion, Tiana Trump, and covers the entire area in this golden aura. And then he does this, where listen, dirty minds aside, I have no idea why you would ever do this. Like, didn't that hurt? No. Anyways, but the trick with this is, if you actually have the artifact that you gain, the Weaver's Needle, you can actually dispel this entire thing, which I did not know for my first few runs. But once I did figure that out, it was my last run, and it actually stuns him after you usually giving you a good window to just wail on him. But yeah, after that, the fight is basically over. I mean, he's on his last legs, no pun intended. You know, the fight is a hell of a lot easier. He doesn't have his weapon anymore, so just, hey, beat him. That's it. Fight's over. Don't flop.
Bloody hell. What's the hold up this time? Soak your offerings and go breed more rats. If you dare to muck up the king's practice again, I'll serve your dimwit son up for supper. Myself. Ain't you that old loser? Where'd you come from? You bird-faced mug. Who cares anyway?
Now this is probably the first boss in the game that genuinely had me pressed. Because why are you putting your fist up and squaring up with me like you're a person? Why do you have a sword? Why can you hit me from the other side of the arena like Flash stepped into me like in Bleach? Like, this guy is a freaking menace. He's tough as hell. It was the first boss where I felt like I wasn't doing enough damage. He's tough as hell, he's fast as hell, his moves are fluid as hell, as you can see. And it's pretty clear to me at least that he studied under Morgoth the Omen King. Because here we go with that Elden Ring shit with the delayed attacks again. Oh my fucking. This is a boss where you have to be locked in. You have to be engaged with him. You have to be paying close attention to what he's doing. You can't be just like playing on autopilot, just kind of mindlessly hacking away. No, because he's gonna literally chew you up every single time. You have to be managing your resources. You have to have some kind of plan. It's definitely a battle of attrition, but it's one you can win.
villain resides. Beneath every mountain an abyss lies. Where disparities persist, bloodbaths may arise. I cannot escape, and nor can you!
And at number 6, we have the Yellow One Sage. Now, when Black Myth Wukong first came out, I remember there were quite a few people talking about this guy. There was a lot of people talking about how difficult he was. There was a lot of memes too. But I personally hadn't gotten to him yet. But when I did get to him, holy shit, did I finally understand what people were talking about. And I wouldn't even say that he has difficult moves. He just has bullshit moves. Like, in particular, he has this one, like, kick grab attack that he can just whip out whenever the hell he feels like it. For those of you who are somehow lucky enough to avoid this, he has a move where he kicks you in the air, spears you while you're in midair, slams you into the ground, stomps you into the ground, lifts you back into the air with his spear, and then smacks you out of the air. That he can just do at any time while you're standing in front of him. Thankfully, he doesn't spam this move, or at least he did with me. Otherwise, I would have made it out of there. But ultimately, if you're able to manage your resources, try to stay behind him, if you can memorize his moveset even somewhat, then this guy is far from unbeatable.
"500 years. I have rebuilt the temple. Now it's grander in scope. All those monks consumed by the fire turned to wandering ghosts roaming in Black Wind Mountain. It was I who granted them eternal repose. I have even restored the charred scriptures, piece by piece. But oh yes, I always knew.
At number 5, we have the Black Wind King. This was the first boss in the game to make me straight up angry. Actually angry, not like upset, like not a little frustrated. Like no, this guy actually was pissing me off. Him being able to turn intangible when at this point in the game you only had one spell, which is Immobilize, and you probably come to rely on it pretty heavily, was a calculated move by the devs. And honestly, I give my hats off to them because they got me. He probably killed me more than every other boss in the game, which I know might be weird to say because I'm placing him 5th, but I still think there are more difficult bosses than him. So yeah, if I had to compare him to an Elden Ring boss, I'd say he's the more Morgoth of this game. You know, his job is he's gonna beat your ass. That's his job. And yes, he does destroy you, but he does it to help prepare you for the more difficult bosses that you're gonna encounter along the line. It's not personal, but it damn sure feels that way.
You have some cheap.
For all his foresight, Yuan the Sign Teller could never have known that. I've hidden upon his garb as a pattern. Our sire gave his life to pave the way for the journey. And not a day passes that we do not yearn to avenge him. Yet every day, we find ourselves adrift without a home to call our own. I'll kill you to unbind our destinies.
And at number 4, we have the Yellow Long. Now, even though he didn't make the top 3, this is definitely where the rage starts. This guy is an absolute beast. He is one of the few bosses in the game that forced me to learn his entire moveset. I had to come up with a plan for every single move. I had to know what I was going to do for every single move that he pulled out. And if I didn't know, I was dead. Like, this boss battle is that tight. Like, you really have to know what you're doing. You can't just go in there, turn your brain on autopilot, and just hack away at him. Nope. That will get you killed every single time. But once you find your rhythm and learn his moveset, it becomes as simple as putting it into practice. It might take a few times, but you will go down eventually. Also, something I noticed at the end of this fight is this dragon that he turns into the same as this other one, who is also the same as this lady. Did I put that together? Can someone explain, please?
Ages ago, Jinjanza and I were peers. Ever questing with goodwill, he was. His nature made him question the supremacy of us beyond mortal woe and grief. He deemed all souls could be akin to us. Why then do we tower whilst others merely kneel and offer? He asked. I told him the others are less than us. His misstep cast him back into the endless cycle. Reborn, he drew 3 disciples. But what did they change? One ended up a corpse, others fugitives. He too took to the shadows. Pathetic. Those journeyers have misplaced their worship. Why bet on the sutra when one oneself can be a Buddha?
Kneel before the Buddha of the future.
And at number 3 we have Yellowbrow. No, I don't have a whole lot to say about this guy, except for you are essentially looking at almost like a 3-phase fight. I say almost because, you know, you do have a different boss in there, the Macrod Chief. Sorry if I butchered his name. Strung in between Yellowbrow's first and second phase. So if you are playing it all like continuously without a break, you're looking at about three phases. And then, yeah, his first phase it really isn't that bad. It's when you get to his second phase that the BS kind of starts, particularly with his golden form. When I first when he first used this ability, I stopped hitting him because why wouldn't I? I wasn't doing any damage. I figured, okay, eventually he'll go out of this form. Okay, you know, we've seen bosses like that before in the past where, okay, you can't hit him at this point in time, so you have to wait. Nope, he just kept using that form just throughout the entire fight, and I didn't do any damage, and he eventually killed me. And I don't remember exactly how many runs it took for me to figure out that, yeah, basically you are supposed to just keep hitting him when he's in his golden form, despite the fact that the game is almost telling you to the contrary, because your weapon is bouncing off him like, hey, you can't do any damage, dummy, don't hit him. He's invulnerable right now, stupid. But yeah, after a while I did figure out that you were just supposed to just keep hitting him and eventually you'll knock him out of that form, which was frustrating. Along with the fact that this is the only boss in the game that forces you to take damage. He has 2 little almost like phase transitions, like sub-phases throughout his second phase, One where he holds you in stasis with his lightning and then hits you with his mace, and then another where he turns you into like a bat and then hits you with his mace again. That is bullshit, especially on runs where I would have succeeded if I just had a little more health, but to be honest, I wasn't even proud when I beat this boss. I was just happy it was over. Let's move on.
Edge sharpened, arm restless. I was looking for someone to test it. Mark me. This blade is cast from the best metal. Don't blame me if you hurt yourself.
Fuck this guy.
Shame I must greet you in this bitter cold without a hearty drink. It's no easy feat getting here. I know you didn't come to keep me company. In your heart there must be something you can't get over. Or someone you can't let go of. Same goes for me. I can't kill that monkey. No one can. Except himself. But at last, I see. This is the only way. He had no choice. And neither did I.
And at number 1 we have Erlang the Sacred Divinity. Yes, I know. Daring today, aren't we? But honestly, he deserves it. Because he does everything that a lot of the other difficult bosses in the game make you do. You have to memorize his moves. You have to manage your mana throughout the entire fight. You can't just spam Immortalize. He makes you use all of your resources, like your amplification pellets, the damage reduction pellets. He also has you use a specific transformation and a specific artifact just to help get rid of that poise bar. Now I know there's probably some mad lad out there who's no hit 'em, no transformations, no magic, no nothing. But for me personally, I'm not trying to do all that. My hat's off to you, but that's not for me. Now, without that poise bar, I'm sure you could argue that he actually wouldn't be that difficult of a boss. But since he does have it, it makes him a completely different beast. I had to pull out all the stops in this guy, and it almost wasn't enough. He is the only boss in this game that made me use a resurrection pellet. The only one. Not even the final boss, the Great Sage, had me doing that. I pulled out all the stops and it damn near wasn't enough. I also had to look up a guide and almost follow his tactic 1 for 1. And I want to give that guy a shout out here. His name is Elbethium on YouTube. Hey, go subscribe to him. He deserves it. He's the MVP. But with that being said, hey, top 10 hardest bosses. Let me know what you think. I'm out.
I hear tell this Yao Guai is I rank 1,000-fold above that king. As his sire he reveres me, and like a deity he serves me. How dare you think I'm his slave? Kindly chant the loosening spell and release that, Tathagata, so that you can take back my headland, and I can be free of the court. That Yao Guai said he knew me somewhat. Surely he's no mere mortal. He must be somebody from the court. Great. The journey ends here. Keep those eyes wide to bring them down. Watch me rip it off and break free.
loyalties. My brothers tested you at my behest. All for this day. And only now do I understand that fight. No prestige can shackle him. No band can keep him caged. A mortal death for an unbound mind and will. May you not fail him. I'm now at peace. Your journey, though, has just begun.